The St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Judiciary and Public Safety Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tamian?
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann?
Here.
Commissioner Bohm?
Here.
Commissioner Dunn?
Here.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here.
Commissioner Graytop?
Yes, here.
Commissioner McConnell?
Here. We do have one addition to add, the 2017 Community Corrections Grant Application Contract.
I move that we include that under new business 7E.
Support?
Okay, we have motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have motion to approve the agenda as altered?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any citizens to be heard? Seeing none, updates? None. Conceptual initiatives? We have none. We have no old business. New business. Front of the Court CRP Grant Agreement Renewal for the fiscal year 2017 through 21.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Friend of the Court CRP grant agreement renewal be forwarded to the full board for action.
Do we have motion? Do we have support?
Support?
Are there any questions? Giving Howard his chance.
I said my piece earlier.
Okay. All in favor of sending it to the board?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Prosecuting Attorney CRP Grant Agreement Renewal fiscal year 2017 through 21.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to move the prosecuting attorney's CRP grant agreement fiscal year 2017 to fiscal year 2021 to full board.
Support.
We have motion and support. Is there any questions? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The 2016 Port Security Grant Program.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we send the 2016 Port Securities Grant Program to the full board.
Support. We have motion and support. Is there any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The Crime Victims' Rights Grant Agreement.
I'll move that the crime victims' rights grant agreement be sent on to the full board for action.
Support.
We have motion and support. Are there any questions?
Just one, does this grant have any match to it?
No. We're assuming it's going to be $120,000 as it has been for the previous few years.
Correct.
Anything else? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7E, the 2017 Community Correction Grant Contract for final approval.
I would so move the 2017 Community Corrections Grant Contract.
Support.
We have motion and support. Are there any questions? We've discussed this in the past, and this is just the actual final for signatures. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other judicial public safety matters at this point? Seeing none. We need a motion to receive and file.
I would so move.
And supported?
We have motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
I move
So
to
moved.
adjourn.
Motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Who's environmental and public? Where are we going? Right here.
I'd like to call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Environmental and Public Works Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll?
Commissioner McConnell?
Here.
Commissioner Tamian?
Here.
Commissioner Bohm?
Here.
Commissioner Dunn?
Here.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here.
Commissioner Graytop?
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann?
Here. This time I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as prepared.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Any citizens to be heard regarding environmental or public works matters? Seeing none, any updates from commissioners? Seeing none, any conceptual initiatives from administration? None? No old business, new business. The first one is to pledge the full faith and credit for the Marine City drain bonds.
I would make a motion to send that to the full board.
Support.
Been moved and supported.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. In the report, it talks about issuing bonds to be repaid through at-large assessments, the Clay and Cotterville Township, the City of Algonac, St. Clair County, and the Michigan Department of Transportation, and through assessments to landowners. Are we really issuing bonds for the county and the MDOT shares of the project?
Yes, this is the full cost of the project, and then it gets charged back our piece through our annual at-large assessment through the drain office.
So MDOT has an assessment and they pay on a portion of the bond issue?
It's special assessed through, like the tax bill, so they would pay it annually, just like the county does.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Greathop.
Does anybody know what our costs, have they allocated those individual costs yet, what it's going to cost the county for that particular project?
I do have estimates from the drain commissioner, however, not with me, but he did provide preliminary estimates to me early on in the year, so it was included in our at-large budget for 16 and 17.
There were, just for your information, I received a ton of phone calls, because it's down in my area. They had reassessed the area and they had moved some people from one drain section to another, found that they really were. This new LiDAR they have must be really working well, because they actually changed some of the people and put them into different drains, and people were concerned about it. I guess the thing that bothered some of the people was the fact that it's almost a subjective, how much do you benefit from that drain in your area? You know, if it does this and it drains your yard, you're getting a lot of benefit. If you're high and dry, you're still getting a benefit, but how much benefit are you getting? And that's kind of what bothered a lot of people. So I guess I'm just curious, maybe we could see this final report somehow to see how they actually determine who gets assessed and how they determine that. And also, how do they do the county or the, you know, they did MDOT probably because of M29, I would assume, that drains through that area.
I would suggest bringing Wiley in, his guys, they can explain all that information for you, so you get a...
I think a portion of our cost is what would be allocated to county roads, is it not?
Correct, yeah.
Right. Yep, okay.
Commissioner Rushing.
Yeah, very similar. I have a similar situation. It's actually my district, but in different parts of the county, this one drain district is entirely inside of another drain district. So the same taxpayer owns property on Braidwood Road, has to pay two assessments, even though he's got a house that covers two drains in there. So he's paying on that. Bob Wiley gave a very good explanation, had him talk to the resident also, and like Jeff said, have Bob Wiley come in, he can explain it very well on how the drain commissioner does the assessing and everything for the drains.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Landfill ticketing software procurement.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to move the landfill ticketing software to full board.
Support?
It's been moved and supported. Any questions? We have Matt here if you do have any questions.
Letter is pretty explanatory.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Comcast Internet Agreement for the landfill.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the Comcast Internet agreement for the service to the landfill be sent on to the full board for action.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Question.
Yeah, a couple, and I've already got this answered earlier, but you currently have AT&T. Looks like you're going to have $60 a month savings. Give a rundown of that.
Good evening, Commissioners, Administrators. Chris? We're not doing it for that particular savings. The reason why we're doing it, quite honestly, is, I guess it was early this year, there were 3 so-called thin clients installed out in the landfill office as workstations. We had previously had PCs everywhere. IT, I think, is going to that. I don't know if you are here tonight, so you can elaborate if we need to. And I know the thin clients are more cost-effective, and I'm not really sure of all the IT reasons for those. But essentially, it's a remote desktop, a remote PC, that from what I understand, it's all being handled down here on the server downtown. So the advantage to that is for someone like myself, I have a laptop, so I'm at home, I can sign into the service and have my full desktop with all my archives and everything if I need to work from out of the office. Unfortunately, the result on those workstations where these thin clients are, at certain times of the day, they get bogged down with our current information conduit coming out back and forth to the server downtown, that there's had instances where I've been trying to write a one-line email and it takes me 5 minutes before it will accept my typing. When we have to run reports periodically off of our current ticketing system, what used to take maybe 3 minutes to go in and everything happen takes a half an hour at times. Now, that isn't the case all the time, but at certain periods of the day, peak times, it gets really, really bad.
2 more questions. Carrie already explained it fairly well, but AT&T cannot provide the service there.
I'm going to defer to Tiffany on that because she did the work with the providers.
Now, the other question would be, because you're saying it's going to save $60 a month, but your initial setup cost, it's going to take years, so I'm not sure.
Oh, absolutely. No.
You could address that?
Yeah, this was a difficult one because of the location. We looked at a number of options from AT&T and upgrading that circuit to private fiber, and ultimately Comcast was the most cost-effective solution for the amount of bandwidth that we can afford. So yeah, we did look at upgrading our AT&T circuit, but that would have actually been more expensive and not as much bandwidth. So yeah, unfortunately we have to pay those disconnect fees because we're under contract with AT&T, but overall it will save us money and
Carrie
increase
explained
bandwidth.
very well, but just one explanation, so. All right, thank
If we
you.
could move the landfill closer
Yeah.
downtown, we'd
There
do
we go.
that, but it doesn't.
I think we'll pass on that.
Nobody wants that.
No.
Okay, no other questions for Matt? Nope. Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks, Matt, Tiffany.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We'll send that on the full board. The next item, D, Resolution 1622, authorizing Metropolitan Planning Commission to apply for Economic Adjustment Assistance Fund. And I would like to do this for final action. I think we acted on this already, but they had to take it back and tweak it again. So, get it back in. I would entertain a motion for final action on that.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
It's been made and supported. Any questions? Commissioner Graytop?
Is this something that we are doing strictly for us, or are we going to share this with the entire community? Anybody being involved with the tax base from the Edison plant?
This study would be something that would be shared. This actually doesn't have any county funds. It's kind of, the match will be paid with DTE. And the purpose is to share it with the whole community and everyone that would be impacted.
There'll be a breakdown in this that show how it will affect us, how it would affect the township that's there, how it would affect the Marine Cities, or the East China schools. It'll go that far in depth?
Yes.
Okay.
It was fairly comprehensive, if I remember correctly, everything they were going to do. Any other questions for
Just one.
Commissioner Rush?
When this thing disappears, what kind of funding is that gonna, reduced funding for the county are we gonna see from this? Because I know that's part of why the study is, right?
What is it, a couple $1 million hit to the county?
Total funds, our portions is just under $1 million, 900 and some change, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's 1.9 total for all taxing entities. That money, too, that they offered up to St. Clair County was also offered up to River Rouge and Trenton. Those are the 3 plants that are currently in the process of getting decommissioned. So.
Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Does this need a roll call vote if we're spending money?
I don't believe it does. Okay, moving on, the renewal of the CTI Associates contract renewal. Morgan's here, and Matt, so if you have any questions, need a motion?
I'll make a motion that we send it to the full board.
I'll second.
Been moved and supported.
Morgan, how long at CTI? You guys have been with us for how many years now?
We started working for you in the year 2000. We started working for you from the year 2000. I have been working for you since 2004. And this has been a great partnership both to CTI and to the county. This has given us a fantastic platform to find a new business approach for a municipal enterprise fund. I would say like this contract has given us an opportunity to take like Smith Creek landfill like in a completely different business case analysis is totally changed with us accessing state revolving fund, septage injection. All those things are first in the country. And it's the dream of a consultant was made true mostly by the right decision made by the board and the administrators. I got to give. We work for many clients. I want to appreciate the client over here in listening to the ideas that we put forth, going through the rationale of the right and wrong with it, and then supporting it. I'm very grateful to that. And I'm grateful to the experience we have had with this county. This is just not for St. Clair County. This is actually giving us an opportunity to change the enterprise operation for the nation. So I want to thank you all for that.
Yeah, and that's why I just wanted Morgan to chime in on that. Howard and I have obviously been around here the longest, and the things that CTI have been able to do to partner up with us for our bioreactor, and even now working on some other statewide initiatives. I know we've often talked about doing some stuff with some composting. I know Morgan's working with, with the state on some of those issues. His company's at the forefront with that. They understand, what we do out here, and they're continually putting us in a better position. And I'll give the board a lot of credit because I always use the landfill as part of my economic development speech when we meet with prospective people. And I'll start talking about a landfill, and I'll say, and I know you're probably asking why I'm even talking about the landfill, right? But we talk about the technology. We probably committed $3 to $5 million to develop this on something that could have failed per se, but it's been successful. It's been fantastic for us. It is, it's essentially moneymaker, and so when I use that, as part of my discussions, most times if you're a governmental agency, you hate your landfill. Nobody likes landfills, so on and so forth. And I mean, we embrace it. We embrace the things that we're doing here, and it's been a fantastic partnership between the county and CTI. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Commissioner Graytop.
We went to, Commissioner Heidemann and myself went to Washington DC with you guys at one point, looking to get that RDDP changed from a 12-year sunset and try to get it into something other than that. I believe we ended up with a 21-year piece. Does that satisfy the needs that we have now, or do we need to get that pushed even more? Or is that 21 years starting today, or did it go all the way back to the beginning?
The 21 years is going to start as of November this year. So that's a tremendous accomplishment. Because there is no point in investing a lot of money and then trying to depreciate the whole thing in 12 years. So you can speak about that. So 21 years is a blessing. The EPA is also considering extending that later down the road for more than 21 years. So we are on the right track. So your effort and Howard Idemann's effort in going to DC is very helpful.
Good. Okay.
Any other questions for Morgan or for Matt? Just a couple comments. Was talking to someone from EBW.TV, our local internet TV station, and they said that they moved the information about the landfill around, and when they did, I think it had over 8,000 hits between your piece with Mark and Matt's and our interview too. Mark Hackle, by the way, and Jeff did a piece that was quite good. So if the community wants to see it, it's still out there. All they have to do is go to ebw.tv and type in under search landfill, and they all three pop up. So anyway, any word from our Florida connection yet? None?
Not yet. I mean, the client is trying to squeeze the feasibility study with this next project, so the board can approve the financial end of it. And that's all he's waiting for. The Florida connection is sold with the concept, but he's waiting for the time to seek the board approval, which could be this year.
Seems to always be a hiccup someplace. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
At this time, we have the Smiths Creek Landfill Activities Report. I would entertain a motion to receive and file.
You want to vote?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I know Morgan wants you to vote.
We're going to, we're sending this on to the full board, so all I need is all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Most, opposed, nay. Motion carried. Sorry about that. Okay, at this time, I'd entertain a motion to, regarding the landfill activities report, to receive and file.
Motion to receive and file the Smith Creek Landfill Activities Report.
Support. And if you have any questions, we have someone here that can answer all of them. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Any other environmental or public works matters?
Just
Seeing-
this one.
I'm sorry.
I want to appreciate Matt Williams' efforts working with Columbus Township. I talked through Christie today, and right now they're leaning toward contracting with the county to have savings for Columbus Township. So appreciate your working at it.
This is the third community that's fourth so far. Cotterville,
What that
Marysville,
is
and Clay.
what that is that communities within St. Clair County out of 31, they can contract for direct tipping fees, which will reduce the actual cost to each municipality that will do that, because we're going to charge the actual weight for the tonnage that comes in at the landfill. Correct me if I'm any wrong on any of this. Rather than where as a business, whether it's Jeff Rubbish, Waste Management or whatever, they have to put some type of markup because they don't know the exact tonnage. So they're always going to pad the tonnage to make sure that their costs are covered. But this way, it'll save every community that does want to get on board with the county and have the direct tipping fees billed from the county, because there's no markup in there. We're just going to tip for the actual tonnage that goes to landfill, just like we would for waste hauling.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question.
Yes.
Matt, maybe you could explain, why are more communities not jumping on?
Because they don't listen.
I agree. I know Jeff and Matt came in front of us in Marysville when I was there.
We have shared this information, I can assure you, with townships, all the cities, they know it's available. Sometimes the contracts aren't up, but the city of Marysville is a great example. I mean, Christ, they saved $90,000 or something. Duke, you were in
Yeah, I was there,
the
yeah.
deal, and you sit there, and I mean, to the thing with Matt, Jim Oxton's, they write the specs for you. You literally don't have to do anything. You just have to put it out for bid, and we've seen, X amount of percent of savings with all the communities, and just
That's why I don't understand why everybody's not jumping on.
some just don't listen, plain and simple. So.
Short answer is, yeah. they're-
I guess Jeff answered that for you.
I think there's another answer too, if I could interrupt, and we've never done it that way.
Well, there's another explanation too. I talked to Bill Rubnap, the supervisor at Casco Township. They do not handle their garbage or their tonnage. It's all done individually. Each homeowner pays for it themselves. Wales is the same way also, so they couldn't contract with you anyways. So there are communities that don't actually have a waste
But
hauling.
there are a lot of cities and townships.
There's enough people that are doing it now that could talk to the communities that are doing it and realize the savings they could realize.
Well, and the first communities who entered into it are going to reap the biggest benefit, Cotterville and Marysville in particular. And I don't quite honestly know how well Clay is doing, but what we found on this most recent bid for Columbus Township was that the amount of benefit, the strict financial benefit from direct bill or an all-in contract varied widely with the bidders. And there may be a number of reasons for that. Maybe some of them aren't looking at it, aren't thinking through it. I'm not really sure. But the challenge to the waste companies to come up with some numbers on a direct bill as well as the old standard all-in challenges them to think about it. And doing that plus the just actual act of rebidding their contracts, and a lot of communities haven't rebid, they've just re-upped. And that's another reason why I think there aren't more. But the rebidding ends up, and that competitive piece of it ends up saving communities a lot of money in a lot of instances. So it's a combination of the competitiveness of the bid and the savings on the direct bill, I believe, that can benefit the communities.
But
And
I can
that's
assure
the
you,
word.
everything we've done on our end, they know about it, the communities know about it. I've had them out 3 different occasions, so it's not that this is some big secret.
Right.
And I believe Riley's looking at with the bills.
Are they? Good. Oh, yes, yeah, they have.
I'll text.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Okay. We're on to information only. The Park and Rec financial documents.
I'll make the motion to receive and file the park financial documents.
Support. Been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Receive and file packets.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
We are adjourned.
This time I'd like to call the Ways and Means Committee to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner McConnell?
Here.
Commissioner Tamian?
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann?
Here.
Commissioner Bone?
Here.
Commissioner Dunn?
Here.
Commissioner Greatop?
Here.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here. All right, going to number 2, I see we have an addition to the agenda. Can I have a motion to add that?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we amend the agenda to include Public Guardian Manning Table Revision Request as item 7E under new business.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, at this time, do we have any citizens wishing to be heard? Seeing none, we'll go to updates. And I see we have not, no, I guess we do. We have an audit presentation tonight, so.
Good evening. Appreciate being here tonight. I think, as you know, you contract with our firm. I'm Paul Bailey, the principal in charge of your audit engagement. This is Karen Shafiq. She's the manager. She runs the day-to-day activity of your audit. What I'm here tonight for is just to kind of briefly go through your audit report. I've been told to kind of keep it brief. Your audit is about 150-some pages long. Again, as you know, you contract with us each year. We come in and spend about 3 to 4 weeks auditing your financial numbers, looking at your internal control. Everything went very well. We'll touch on a few things. I did hand out a presentation packet tonight. Rather than talk about all 150 pages, I've tried to narrow it down. If you turn in just after the title page on that, one of the first things in your audit report is something called the Independent Auditor's Report. It's technically the only portion of the report that belongs to our firm, Stewart, Beauvais, and Whipple, and it's where we give an opinion on whether your financial statements are presented in accordance with general accepted accounting principles and governmental auditing standards. I'm happy to report, again, you have what they call an unmodified or clean opinion. That's what you're striving for. And basically, it means everything in your audit report is presented in accordance with general accepted accounting principles. Number 2 there on the audit, on the presentation handout, is something called the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. Each year you submit your audit report to what they call the GFOA, Governmental Finance Officers Association in Chicago. They go through it in a very fine-tooth comb. They will make comments that are sometimes off the wall. The book doesn't open correctly, things like that. And you were awarded the contract, or the certificate of achievement for 2014. It takes them about a year to get back with you. You'll hear it probably November, December. We expect your 2015 report will receive the award again, but I congratulate you on the 2014. And again, we expect you to get the 2015 report. Number 3 and 4, we're not going to spend a lot of time with it. That's your commercial way of looking at your county financial statements. As I've explained in the past, there's actually 2 sets of financial statements in your audit report. There's the commercial set of financial statements, and then there's a traditional way governments have always reported. We're going to spend our time in the next few minutes just on that. At the bottom of page 1 there, we'll talk about your general fund. You'll see your general fund had assets of $18,154,000. As of December 31st, 2015, you had liabilities of $6,214,000, deferred outflow of resources which are similar to liabilities of $201,000. So that left your fund balance or your carry forward into the 2016 year of $11,738,636, and you can see the numbers for the 2014 right next to it, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. If you turn the page. The next item we'll talk about is your general fund statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance, or your operating statement. For the year, you took in $53,295,000. You spent $48,749,000. You had other financing uses, which is basically transfers to other funds of $4.6 million. So for the year ended December 31st, 2015, the general fund spent $39,232,000 more than you took in. Basically a break-even year for your general fund there. And you can see, again, that's compared to the 2014 there. As always, we give you a couple graphs. If you turn back to page 7 on the handout, we give you a pie graph of some of your general fund activity. You'll see this pie graph shows the revenue. This year, about 54.3% of your revenues came from taxes. That compares to about 52.4% in the year before, so it stays pretty consistent, but about 50 to 53% of every dollar that comes in for your general fund is in the form of taxes. The next largest area there is intergovernmental of 22 state revenues of $22.3 million. And then you can see each of the pies charts there, charges for services 11.9, and they're pretty consistent from year to year. We give you the 2014 pie graph there. If you turn to the next pie graph on page 8, this is just the same information, only it's on the expenditures. And the largest expenditure of your general fund is a category called public safety, in the police and things like that. They are 41%, it was 40% the year before. General government was 20%. Now, general government includes a number of different things. It's not just all, the administration. It includes a lot of different categories. The Department of Treasury determines the categories of how it goes in. They try to be consistent from one municipality to the other there. Page 9 gives you a bar graph of your fund balance over the last 10 years, and you'll see it's went up from 2006 to 2015, which is very good. In these trying times, you do a very good job of controlling your budget, and I commend you on that with the difficult times over the past few years. And finally, the graph on page 10 is a line graph that basically just shows your revenues and expenditures each and every year. And you'll see they've been very close each and every year in your general fund. Maybe the thing I'll point out is your revenues and expenses were the highest in 2008 at just under like $62 million. This past 15, they're just about 55 million, 55 some million dollars there. So you had to decrease your expenses as your revenues have decreased there, and that's what this line graph shows. If you turn back to page 2 on the handout, number 3 there, kind of on the top portion of the page, shows analysis of fund balance. It just breaks your fund balance down. Again, your total fund balance is $11.7 million. There's a couple different classifications. There's the non-spendable portion, which basically are receivables that's going to come back into the county, but you can't spend them immediately. Committed is your budget incentive fund. Your assigned is your development revolving fund, and that left your unassigned fund balance for the year ended December 31st of $4,040,232 there. I can go through the rest of this handout. What happens, what I put on this handout, even though I didn't plan on going through it tonight, is all the other funds, just to give you a very quick synopsis of where they ended up. Just because there's brackets around them might mean that they spent a little bit more than they took in a given year. A lot of times that's planned. You'd have to look at the budget and so forth. But overall, you didn't have any funds that were in any financial difficulties or deficits or so forth. Yes, sir.
Paul, looking at the graph on page 9 shows that our fund balance increased every year, if I'm reading that correctly.
Yes, sir.
But when I look at page 2, over on the totals where it says fund balance, there are different figures there that don't indicate an increase every year.
Yeah. What happens is governmental accounting standards, again, I'm glad Karen reminded me of this. In your general fund that's presented in your audit report, there's actually 3 different funds. There's the general fund as you budget it each year. There's also the budget incentive fund, which is really separate, and you keep it separate internally, and there's the development revolving fund that you keep separately. But the governmental accounting standards say because they don't have a source of revenue, that you have to combine them for presentation purposes. So that's why it looks a little bit from your general fund, the way you budget it each and every year, your fund balance has went up. So on a budgetary basis for your general fund, it has went up for every year, but on page 2, they put those other 2 funds together, so there was a year, when you put all 3 funds together, there was a little drop in a couple of years there, but it was a result of the budget incentive fund and your development revolving fund.
Which one helps us better when it comes to our rating, our bond ratings and stuff?
I would say all of them, because I think you're being proactive and you're taking a look at the long-term approach. So you've actually they look at the total fund balance, not just the general fund as you budget it primarily. But I think, you have established these funds to do different projects, different areas. So I think they all help you in that area when you go. And I know your Administrator Carrie Hepting has talked to the bond rating more than I have as far as what affects your bond rating.
Are there any other questions? Do you have anything else for us?
That should do it. If you ever have any questions, feel free to give us a contact. We appreciate your visit.
Thank you.
Just a little comment, David. I've got to commend the board and boards past. If you look at 2006, 2015, to be able to increase your fund balance is one of the things that I share with people. And of course, campaign season stuff, people always say, you're spending all the money, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, we've increased our fund balance from 06 to 15 in worst economic downturn ever, So testament to the board, and like I said, previous boards to, have the wherewithal to make necessary decisions, cuts, call it what you may be, to keep the county in pretty good health financially. I can assure you that a lot of the cities and a lot of these other counties are not in as good a shape as St. Clair County, just because the proverbial kick the can down the road, Howard, and no kicking. Howard?
Yeah, I can't help but, or anyone that looks at the graph on page 10, and Commissioner Bowman and I were here in 2008 when bad things started happening, and we had to make some tough adjustments and cuts back then, and it's kind of nice now to see 2014 a minor uptick, and I say minor uptick. But to have cut our budget almost $8 million from 2008 to now, that's huge. And then still try to provide the services and maintain the fund balance. We've been very fortunate. I think Sean Groden put us on the right term as our administrator. Bill Kaufman continued it. So you've got a challenge, young lady.
Don't screw it up.
What I'd like to do is give credit to the judges, the employees, everything. What we've had to do over the reduced funds that we've had, everybody in the whole county is county employees, give everybody an attaboy, because we're working very good as a team to get where we are, to maintain what we're doing with services and maintain within our budget, so.
Very
give
well
everybody a
said,
thank you.
David. Very well said.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, we'll move on to number 5, any conceptual initiatives? Seeing none, we have no old business. We're going to move on to new business. 7A, Michigan Supreme Court Administrative Office memo, response to judges' salaries.
That actually should have been under information only.
Do we need a motion to receive the file because it's where it's at and we brought it up or not? Because we accepted the agenda as it is.
Fine.
Okay, we don't, all right. Okay, we'll move on to 7B, the Health Department Manning Table change.
Make a motion that we approve the Health Department manning table change, or we send it on to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to 7C, Workmen's Compensation Excess Agreement.
I'd make a motion to move the workman's compensation excess agreement to full board.
Yes, support. Any discussion?
That recommendation, Human Resources Department recommends, as presented with an SIR level of 500,000. SIR is,
Self-insured retention,
thank you.
I think.
Yeah, it's the
Self-insured
stop loss.
retention, that's where it's.
Okay.
defined at.
Stop loss.
All I needed, thank you.
But Carrie, that's an increase over what we were at?
Correct, we were currently at 450,000. When the analysis of our claims was looked at, we never even came close to the $450,000, so there was a cost savings to raise it up to the 5.
Okay.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. We'll move on to Medicare Advantage Renewal, 7D.
Chairman, I move that the Medicare Advantage renewal recommendation be placed on the full board agenda.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, moving to 7E, Public Guardian Manning Table Revision Request.
Make a motion, we send that on to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, we'll move on to 8. This time, do you have any other Ways and Means Matters?
I was just noticing in our financial report, the pensions and other employee benefit trust funds. And I know that's a big discussion in a lot of community because they're, shall we say, in trouble. And it's kind of nice to see that we're looking good on the basic retirement system and other post-employment benefits, particularly health. What was that, down to 32 million here a few years ago, Jeff?
Yeah,
We got it up to 40. Now, it isn't where
5 to
we'd
7
like.
years and we were done,
Yeah.
you know, when I first
And
came.
at least we've got it going in the right direction. So,
Speaking of that, we have our actuarial report. What's the date on that?
13th.
Right in there? Okay. Encourage everybody to, all the commissioners to attend that if you can, just to get kind of a snapshot as to where we're at and, you know.
Okay, do we have any other Ways and Means Matters? Seeing none, moving on to 9, information only. City of Marysville Notice of Public Hearing.
Make a motion, we accept the City of Marysville public hearing, and do you want the Michigan Supreme Court in there also?
If you would, please.
All right, they're both in there then, for
Support.
information only.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, moving on to 10, receive and file.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, sir.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned.